Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a live stream. I know it's been a while. It's been a week since I've been back. I've had internet problems since last Friday, and that only got resolved on Tuesday, so I couldn't do my live stream on Monday. But I am back today for our Focus Friday live streams. And today I want to talk about how the coaching industry really needs an overhaul from a coach's perspective. Now, before I get into my thoughts on this, and today I want to be very careful about everything that I say because I don't want this to turn into a rant. Yes, I have some issues, but today, what I want this conversation to be about is co creating better solutions. So, this is really me calling in all coaches out there. Today's conversation is about me calling in all coaches out there to see how we can reclaim integrity in the coaching industry, how we can reclaim our authenticity in the coaching industry, and how we can reclaim service, which is why those of us who've become coaches went into this space, came into this space with the idea of service. And those are the three main things that I see missing in this space right now: the integrity, the authenticity, and that service driven mentality, or that service driven inspiration to be of service to our clients. Now, before I get into the meat of this conversation, it's interesting that I'm doing this live stream today because this was not the topic I had originally scheduled for today, which is why I only posted about it about 20 minutes ago. So whether you're watching this live now or whether you're watching this later, this is a little bit of an impromptu live stream that's deviating from the topic I had originally planned. And the reason I deviated is because this past week I have seen more and more conversations about what is the role of a coach? What is the nature of a coach? And truly speaking, I even wrote a book about it. It was my first book that was published in May of 2019, addressing clients. And I'll get into why I did that in just a little bit. But getting back to the conversations I had this week and the threads that I saw this week have all been about how the coaching industry has really turned into a bunch of sharks smelling blood, especially since everything that has happened in 2020. At this point on social media, I don't think there is a single one of us who have not been bombarded with dozens of ads on a daily basis, and who have not been bombarded. Our inboxes have not been, flooded with messages from coaches saying they want to help us, whether we need this help or not. And who am I to say all of this? Well, I am a coach. My name is Dr. Aparajita Jitagunta. I am a strategist, a consultant, and a coach. And coaching is something that I truly, truly enjoy. And I was not always a coach. So let me get into the meat of it now. And let me start off by saying, yes, anybody can become a coach, but it does not happen overnight. So coaching as an industry, coaching as a profession, coaching as a calling. Many of us coaches, we call it our calling because it's something that we feel called to do. It is something we feel compelled to do, and we invest into it. We invest our time, we invest our resources, and we invest our money our energy, and everything into becoming effective coaches for our clients. This does not happen overnight. It does not even happen over the course of a weekend with a $7 course or a $12 course. Many of us who are in this coaching space, who are service-driven coaches and who maintain our integrity and who maintain our authenticity, we are ICF certified, or we are certified by a regulating body. We have rules to follow. We have ethics to follow. And when we don't, we get into trouble with them. Now, the nature of this trouble depends on the regulating body, but there are regulating bodies out there. Now, the problem that's come up in the coaching industry is that one of the main problems is that lately it seems like almost anybody out there can just put the label of coach at the end of their name, take a weekend course, and say that they're coaches. Developing a coaching practice, developing your coaching style, understanding your coaching style really before you even develop it takes hundreds of hours of work, of real work. It takes hundreds of hours of inner work, introspection, reflection, understanding where you serve best and how you serve best, understanding what your role as a coach is, and understanding how you can fill that role in an authentic manner without being sleazy or slimy or making your client's situation worse. Many of the threads I've seen this week talk about how they have been traumatized by coaches and how we need to be, how coaching as a whole needs to be better trauma informed. The coaching industry as a whole, if you follow, a regulating body, actually is quite comprehensive and quite clear in saying that the bottom line rule for any certified coach is understanding that the client has all of the resources they need to fix their own problems. As a coach, I am not there to fix your problems. As a coach, I am there to guide you by asking those questions that you are either not thinking about or that you are afraid to ask yourself because you are afraid of the answers. So as a coach, I am there to guide you. I am there to challenge you. I am there to hold up a mirror so that you can see yourself in the way you are presenting yourself. In doing all of that, as a coach, I don't offer any solutions to you. I help you uncover the solutions that are buried deep within you. That is the fundamental premise of a certified coach. So, to anybody listening to this, if you are looking for a coach and they come to you, they jump in your inbox, and in the first message, they're telling you, I can help you fix your problem. Right there, that's a part of why the coaching industry needs an overhaul. Because without even understanding who you are, without understanding your needs, without understanding who you are being, what you are doing, who you want to be, and what you want to do, first of all, they should not be offering fixes. But second of all, to even say that in the first message or the second message or the third message or any message, to say that they can fix your problems, that is a problem with the coaching industry right now when we follow coaches who don't invest the time and resources that it takes to develop their authenticity and to maintain their integrity and to maintain the integrity of the coaching industry. So this is why I actually wrote a book last year. And my book is literally called Transform Yourself, Everything You Need to Know to Find the Right Coach for You. Now, the reason I wrote this book was, and this is just, a tangent, but I promise it's a relevant tangent. I wrote this book, and it's not the greatest book on the planet. I'll be the first one to tell you, but it is a very informative book that gets straight to the point. And the reason I wrote this book is I had first started my coaching journey right before I wrote this book. And of course, I wanted to develop myself as a coach. And many of the first conversations I was having with potential clients revolved around how coaching is different from therapy, to the point where I was having these conversations over and over and over again. So I decided to go out and look for some resources that were going to help my potential clients understand the difference between coaching and therapy so that I could focus on them in the call instead of focusing on educating them on the difference between coaching and therapy. And lo and behold, when I was looking for a resource like this, of course, there were a couple of blog articles, but almost every book I found out there was from coaches to other coaches. How to become $100,000 coach, how to become $1 million coach, how to become $1 billion coach, how to become $1 trillion coach, how to become an emotionally intelligent coach, how to build your coaching practice in 90 days, how to build your coaching practice in 30 days, how to build group coaching programs, so on and so forth. So here was a space where, as coaches, we were talking to each other about how to build our businesses, but nobody was addressing the client. Nobody was telling clients, hey, here is how you differentiate between a coach who has done their work to be able to help you and somebody who just slapped the label coach at the end of their name. Now, for me, particularly in this space, I became a coach after spending 15 years in academia and in research and getting my doctorate in social and personality psychology. And a large part of that was delving into positive psychology. So my journey into the coaching space was very different than other people's journeys. And that's actually what an effective coach realizes, is that most of us who are effective coaches, most of us who are certified coaches through an accreditation body or through an accredited program and are regulated by ICF or APEC or one of these other regulating bodies, all of us have very unique journeys because our journeys combine our lived experiences with our professional experiences and our credentialing. Now, many people think, many coaches will actually, many of these coaches who go through uncertified programs, you'll actually hear them say, credentials mean nothing. It's all about the lived experiences. Yes and no. You have to understand that to get these credentials through, that comes through a regulating body is not easy. We have to count the number of hours we coach. We have to get mentored for a certain number of hours. We have to go through education, training that allow us, that empower us to bring in our lived experiences. And that's how we get these credentials. So at the end of the day, credentials are not the only things that matter. But when you see those credentials at the end of somebody's name and you understand that they are a certified coach and the certification is bound by a regulating body, you understand that there are professional standards that have been put in place over there. And you also have the assurance that if that coach then crosses any ethical boundaries, you have the right to file a formal complaint to the regulating body. That is the safety that clients have. And the coaching industry really needs to standardize this regulation, that when a coach breaks any sort of ethics or when a coach crosses their limits in a bad way and harms a client or takes a client down a very negative path or down the path that the client does not want to go down on, then we have to be held accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable, and we have to hold each other accountable as well, because accountability, after all, doesn't, even in those weekend courses, they'll tell you accountability is a huge part of this. So where is the accountability for the coaching industry? How are we holding ourselves accountable to maintain our integrity, and how are we holding other coaches accountable to maintain their integrity? Because by association, if another coach does not have integrity, that reflects on me negatively, because I'm a coach as well. So we have to hold each other accountable so that we can maintain the standards of the coaching industry, and so that we can reclaim the sanctity of why we've become coaches, and the purpose of why we've become coaches, right? So that's, about integrity and authenticity. Now, in terms of, my ideas about what needs to change, what needs to shift. At this point, I'm just talking coach to coach here. Again, I'm going to go back to, what are we telling our clients? How are we communicating to our clients? How are we communicating to our prospective clients? And I'll be the first one to tell you that I mucked this up really badly for a while, because I followed all of these best practices, and I followed all of these, ideas and templates and done for you systems and done with you systems that tell you how to identify your ideal client, and how to identify their pain points, and how to poke them in their pain points so that they are compelled to work with you. That is a marketing tactic. And yes, as a coach, we have to market ourselves, but we also have to be incredibly careful that we aren't marketing ourselves in ways that make all of us look like sharks, like out for blood, right? Because even if one of us does it, it reflects badly on all of us at the end of the day. This is why the coaching industry, the reputation of the coaching industry is coming down, because of these kind of tactics. So while I'm never going to say, like, don't market yourself, because coaching, in a coaching training program, you learn how to become a coach, but then you have to figure out how to market yourself as a coach, because that's going to be your business. And in fact, people in these marketing programs even tell you, this is why coaches only make an average of 40,000 or so per year, because they don't know how to market themselves, because they don't know how to reach their ideal target client, because they don't know how to communicate pain points, and they don't know how to communicate solutions. I get all of that. I get it. Being an entrepreneur and being a coach, you have to wear two different hats, but you can't confuse those two hats. You absolutely cannot confuse those two hats. And at the end of the day, you cannot ignore that coaching instinct you have, which is there to help you empower people. And if that marketing tactic is telling you, in order to empower people, you have to poke into their pain points and get them to invest in something that they are not ready to invest in, are you really being authentic? Is that really coming from a space of love and integrity? And these are I'm asking these questions because I dealt with them. And for me, the answer was no. So I stopped using them. This is why I said I mucked it up for a while. I did the automated systems on LinkedIn. Ooh, that was interesting. I did the high ticket offers, and yes, I still have a high ticket offer, but I don't throw it in people's face anymore. Because at the end of the day, I know who I can help. And on a consultation call, I can tell based on their needs, based on where they are, who they are now, and where they want to be and who they want to be. I get a very clear picture of whether I can be a good fit to the other person or not. Now, once that has been determined, it truly is up to the client or the prospective client if they want to work with you or not. So I am one of those coaches where, and this is something that a lot of coaches, I don't know if I'm revealing a lot of like industry secrets, which if I am, whoopsie, but it needs to be said. We are actually taught by these marketing coaches and by these sales coaches and these, strategists and consultants that if somebody says no, that we have to coach them through their objection because we are doing the best thing for the client by coaching them through an objection. And I get the point of that. A lot of people don't understand the value of coaching. So as soon as they see hear any kind of price point, and as soon as they hear, oh, this is not a free service, they immediately back away. But you know what? At the end of the day, it is the client's responsibility to invest in themselves. So I am one of those coaches where if you are a prospective client and you get on a consult with me and I go through your needs, I understand deeply where you are and where you want to be, and I lay out your roadmap and I say, this is what this service costs, and you say, no, I can't afford it, I don't coach you through that objection, because at the end of the day, if you can't afford it, great. If you don't want to invest in it, that's on you. That's not on me. What is the cost of you not investing in yourself? I'm not going to be the one to determine that. You know better than anybody else on the planet does if you want to change or not. I'm not going to compel you to change. I will only work with you if you feel compelled to change and you say, hey, I really want to change. I need to change. I just need help with it. I just need guidance with it. Right? That is coming from a space of integrity, and that is coming from a space of authenticity, because then I've built that bond even with that prospective client that, hey, I'm not going to beat you over the head about this. And I learned this the hard way. I truly learned this the hard way after having done this, after having tried to coach people through their objections, after having done the whole, well, if you really want to invest in yourself, let's brainstorm how you can get creative. And you know what? That's not being effective for me, because at the end of the day, you have the resources. And if you are not even willing to explore these resources as a client, there is nothing else I can do as a coach, because at the end of the day, the coach-client relationship is based on the trust from the coach that the client is open and willing to explore their resources and to explore themselves, and trust from the client to the coach that the client gets to lead the conversations, right? And that's another problem that's happening there. That's why I brought it up. At the end of the day, as any certified coach will let the client lead the conversation outside of the consult. Of course, in the consult, we have to ask a lot of questions to even see if we are a good fit for you. But outside of that, if the client is not leading the conversations, if the client is not allowed to explore everything that comes up, then that's consulting. If you are providing solutions automatically, that's consulting. That's not coaching. If you are giving them, answers when they don't ask you the questions, I don't know what that is, but I was taught that that's not coaching. right? Now, of course, I'm simplifying this a lot. There is a lot more to be said about that. So please, that is a disclaimer I have to put on there. Everything I've talked about in here are simplified versions of this, but I just wanted to get this conversation going on how can we, as coaches who have integrity, who are authentic, and who are coaches because it's been our calling, because we truly enjoy it, how can we reclaim coaching to raise the standards of the coaching industry across the board? How can we hold ourselves accountable? How can we hold each other accountable? And how can we hold our regulating bodies like ICF and APEC accountable to elevate all of us? Because at the end of the day, what is undeniable is that having a coach, having an effective coach, is one of the best investments you can make in your life. Having an effective coach can literally transform your life for the better, can literally transform you into exactly who you've always wanted to be, but something's always held you back. Having an effective coach, is like having the best tool in your toolkit that you can use. It's like that whetting stone, right? Where you keep sharpening your knives and swords. That's what a coach does. And again, for anybody that says, well, I don't care about the credentials, let me ask you this. My 4-year-old builds incredible structures with Legos. Absolutely incredible, fantastical. If you want you and your family to live in a house, would you go for an architect who has the skills and the credentials? Or would you want to hire my 4-year-old? And I ask this as a half joke because my 4-year-old actually wants to be an entrepreneur. So if you're okay with her building your home, let me know. I can start her off on her entrepreneurial journey. Heck, I'll even coach her through it to help you. But on the other hand, if you want a stable home, you're probably going to go with an architect, right? So if you want a stable transformation, go with a certified coach. And if you want to be the person that promotes stable transformations, that guides people on stable, long-term, developmental, and action-oriented transformations, as a coach, do us all a favor. Invest in yourself and constantly train yourself to be a better coach. Because the ones that are through regulating bodies and accredited, your investment in them will come back manyfold than a weekend course that is not accredited. You're going to do yourself a favor, and you're going to do the rest of all of us a favor too. So for the sake of the entire coaching industry, let's elevate our standards so that as a collective, we don't have to deal with this. We don't have to deal with our clients saying they've been traumatized. And so that we don't have to be traumatized when we see other coaches doing these things that are not authentic or ethical. And finally, as a final point, I do have to say this. Overall, coaching has been an extremely whitewashed space, in my experience. We absolutely need to shift that. We absolutely need to shift that. We absolutely need to decolonize the coaching space to allow more marginalized voices to be able to be empowered. And we have to do this by making sure that our programs are accessible, again, with integrity, without devaluing ourselves and all of that. And again, this is a complicated issue. So everything I'm talking about is super high level, but we have to include marginalized clients by making our programs accessible to them. Because at the end of the day, when we look at our target niches with our high ticket offers, the ones that need the coaching help the most automatically get selected out. When we look at, oh, well, I'm only going to work with X, these kind of people who bring in this kind of revenue and bring in, and are able to pay me $10,000 or $20,000. And if that is the kind of coach you are, please keep in mind, I'm not judging you. I'm making an overall statement that as an industry, coaching has been whitewashed, and we need to do better about equity and inclusion in coaching. We need to do better about having our programs accessible to those who need them, having our services accessible, rather, to those who need them, but don't quite fall in those high ticket programs. Does that mean more work for us? Yes, no doubt. Is that also the equitable thing to do in terms, so that we can maximize value for all parties involved? Yes. So as a coach, to all of my fellow coaches out there, please think about social impact. Please think about how you can impact those who would normally not be able to afford your services, but desperately need them or want them. And it's not that they're not committed to changing, but we can't go around telling people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps when many people out there, especially right now, are getting their boots taken away, so there's no straps to pull themselves up by. And I'm not enabling people when I say that. That is literally the reality of our market right now. And I can't, I don't have time to get into all of this, but this is why I have programs that span the entire spectrum at $9, at $79, at $200, and at high ticket, because that's my personal value. I'm not asking you to adopt my personal value, but if equity and inclusion and social impact are something that are your personal values, and you haven't acted on them yet, as a coach, I'm challenging you and I'm asking you, what's holding you back from having the impact that you truly can for equity and inclusion? And how can you make it equitable for you, both you and your clients? That's it for me for today. I hope that wasn't a rant. I tried really hard not to go on a rant. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. And please feel free to schedule your discovery call with me. And, everything that I am talking about also has come about because of my own personal transformation and my own journey. So, if you want a free guide on how I went from just passively living to actively thriving, to have the impact that I've had, to becoming an award-winning diversity, equity, inclusion, belongingness, and leadership strategist, coach, and consultant, to helping my clients get promotions, to helping my clients build multiple, 5-6-figure businesses and the whole 9 yards, please feel free to text the word inner fire to 411-321. The guide is completely free. When you text inner fire to that number, 411-321, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you to put your email address in, because I'm going to send you a PDF and I can't send you a PDF on text. So it's going to ask you to put your email address in. When you put your email address in, it immediately sends this free guide, which is my framework that I use. Please feel free to use this framework however you want. There are literally no strings attached. So anybody with a cell phone anywhere in the world can access this. Don't hesitate. once you put your email address in, the one thing I will say is it might go in your spam or promotional folder, depending on how your email system is set up. So check all mail to receive this free guide. And if you want to have a call with me about how I can help you, please don't hesitate to schedule a discovery call. And that's about it for me. I'll be back on Monday. Bye.